This is Bob Johnson with Pose Down Magazine, and I'm sitting here with Vlad. And how do you say your last name, Vlad?
Yudin.
Yudin. We're going to talk about his new movie he's done here, Generation Iron. It's a kind of a spin-off of the Pumping Iron, correct?
It's a new chapter.
A new chapter, right. And you're from Russia, right? Originally from Russia, and you lived back and forth from Russia to New York, is that correct? Okay. And how did you fall in love with making movies?
I always had passion for it, really. And as I grew older, I made it into a career. I went to school for it, of course, and went to school for business and film. And I teamed up with my producing partner, Edwin Mejia. We formed a company, the Vlad Company, which is based in New York and LA. And little by little, we started picking up steam, and now it's a full-fledged production company.
Right. And did he not work on Cowboys and Aliens, wasn't it?
No, that's actually a graphic novel that we're doing.
Okay.
With a company called Arcana, and we're doing that with a company that published Cowboys and Aliens.
Okay. And then I got to personally tell you, thank you for doing something with the bodybuilding industry. As big as the industry is worldwide, it's still kind of an underground thing as far as the general population, and what you're doing is going to help bring that to the forefront, so your average Joe gets to see what goes on. They don't just see of course you did the top 7 of the top guys, that you followed them around and filmed this documentary, but it's going to help people understand that it's not just, these guys aren't just big muscle-headed guys that have no brains. They have families and jobs and careers and own their own businesses, and all the blood and sweat and guts they put into being where they are, and they didn't do it overnight. Some of these guys, we know all of them, took them 20, 30 years to do what they've done. So,
well, my goal is really not, it's not really to promote bodybuilding per se.
Right.
It's more to tell a story, an honest story about these guys as they train, and people will make the decision if it's good, bad, or whatever, but the goal is to bring an honest take on it, and I spent a lot of time with these guys, and it's a very intense story, and it's some of it is dramatic, some of it it's very sad, and some of it it's happy, and it's a combination, just like it's real life, and
right.
People go through different things, and it's very exciting to watch. So
right. And this morning we were with Arnold talking, and about the movie industry, and he was telling us, kind of like what you were just saying, you didn't set out to promote bodybuilding per se, but it's going to happen anyway, and that's what I'm thanking you for. Like he said, you don't know what movie's going to be great. You just put it together and hope for the best, do your best job. And but what can you tell us about the movie that you learned about bodybuilding, about the guys? You got to know them pretty well, I'm sure, all 7 of them.
Absolutely, and it took time, of course, to develop a relationship, because bodybuilding is very, it's very close, kind of close.
Yes.
In sport,
Yes.
They don't trust the outsiders,
Yes.
But I feel like it takes an outsider to tell an honest story about bodybuilding. Like, you can't be in the industry and make a
Be objective
film.
Yes.
You gotta have to look at it from the outside, But Pumping Iron definitely brought it to the masses, and it kind of it opened it up a little bit. And it's been 30 years, and the bodybuilding is still unexplored in many ways.
Yes.
So our objective is to explore it further, and to really, but it is really to tell the story, or not a story about these guys as they train, and go through, through all the struggle to achieve greatness, and they go through so much to achieve that greatness. It's almost like you have to understand why they're doing it.
Yes.
So some people I didn't understand at first. And I'm getting to understand more and more what it's all about. It's really an art form, and it's a combination of science and sport. But it's interesting. It's interesting what bodybuilding really is.
It's a lot of hard work. The amount of food we eat, or especially them guys, to maintain that size.
Yeah.
I'm sure that just blew your doors off, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting to find out. Over the years, the bodybuilders got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's something we talk about in the film. Well, was it better to have the physique of Frank Zane or of today? So kind of, it's interesting to see what the people in the sport think about it as well.
And you got to see a lot of the country, I'm sure you haven't seen, and get into gyms like the original Metroflex in Arlington, that's just a hardcore, in your face gym, and the Gold's gyms and the different gyms you travel around. And
Metroflex is an amazing gym. I've never seen a gym like that. But it's something about it. You feel the spirit there.
Yes, yeah. Brian's got an incredible place there. He really does. You know, you got people from all over the world like yourself coming just to see it, and, and now here we go again. He's gonna, you know, reborn again. Doing all this, and you said it's changed your outlook on bodybuilding. What would you say? I don't want to say some of your favorite things you did while filming this. You know, that you'll remember 30 years from now, just specific things.
You know, it's for me, you know, I look for little things, you know. I look for emotional elements of these guys, you know, and you know, I remember being with some of them in their houses, and they go through something very personal. And you know, we made a deal in the beginning that nothing is off topic, so you know, it's kind of like they understood that I'm trying to make the best film possible. Right. But at the same time, they go through real life, you know. Yes. I witnessed some very personal moments in their life, of course. But you know, they trust me to obviously make the best decision to use it or not to use it or whatever, you know. And some of this stuff is still kind of, you know, we're still editing the film, so a lot of this stuff is kind of still absorbing and trying to figure out which, you know, what to use, what not to use, really. But you know, I witnessed a lot of the personal moments, so that stuff is obviously going to stay with me. I'm always going to remember that, you know. Right. But some of the fun stuff is actually Metroflex, because I've never seen anybody work out like Branch Warren. That was something special.
There's not a whole bunch of people that work out like
I've never
Branch
seen.
Warren.
Yeah, I mean, that was special. Him and Johnny Jackson.
Johnny's great too. Yeah, he really is. You know, then you get Brian in there, and I don't know what time of year, probably summertime if you're shooting in there, when it's 150 degrees in that place, and we have people all the time because I have the same type of gym, and everybody says, man, how can you work out here? And I'm like, well, you know, everybody asked how Ronnie got so conditioned, how Branch gets so conditioned, training there in 120 degrees with no airflow, and move the kind of weight those guys are moving. It's just a mindset just to be in that gym, let alone training like they train. And Branch, you've seen Branch, man, with the long sleeves and the sweaters and and he walks out, sweat pouring off him, and it takes a special person. That's why bodybuilding is such a small group of guys.
Absolutely, especially the top guys. The top guys, especially.
Absolutely.
Not a lot of them.
And when's this movie due out?
This movie's coming to theaters September 2013. We're very excited about the fact that it's coming to theaters. And since Pumping Iron, there's never been a film about bodybuilding that was actually playing in theaters. You know, never been even attempted a film of this scale, really. So very excited about it. I know everybody's very anxious about it right now.
Oh, I am. I can't wait to see it. I'll be honest with you.
I hear you, man. Just got to be a little patient, and September is coming.
We don't have a choice, right? We got to be patient. Vlad will release it when he's ready, right?
Of course.
Well, I personally, from Pose Down Magazine, want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving us this great opportunity to be on your bus and meet your staff and hang out with you, get to know you a little bit. And I can't wait to see your movie. I know everybody out there is getting excited about it. I heard through fans asking me about it. I didn't know anything about it 2-3 months ago when people started talking about it. You know, knowing Branch, you know Branch, you don't say nothing. You know, so when I heard about it, and somebody in the gym told me about it, and I went, Pumping Iron 2. And they were like, yeah. And he brought me, I guess, the poster with all the guys. And I was like, wow, that's cool, man, awesome. Then when I got the phone call from your assistant, I got real excited. But we look forward to seeing that, and I wish you all the success in the world with this. I think you'll do very well. Now, does everybody here want to be a bodybuilder now?
I don't think it's impossible. Actually, he does. He wants to be a bodybuilder.
Sean don't want to be a bodybuilder?
I'm into boxing.
Boxing. There you go. Thank you, Vlad, very much. And we look forward to seeing Generation Iron coming to you in September 2013. Thank you. Are you going to have a premiere in Dallas?
Well, that's the plan, to go on tour. Go from city to city in the premieres.
I'd love to be there.
Yeah,
I would love to be there.
Magazine.
Absolutely, I'd love to be there. That would be incredible.
Some posters for them, maybe?
Who they at?
In that smaller box.
Hopefully I'll hang one in that gym.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
too.
I'll get you a signed one for him. We'll hang it in the gym.
It's going to be a foreign
It's great, man.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
Did you do like
Foreign,
French.